I'm telling you, Mamdani's on notice because he's saying he's not going to cooperate with the feds in any way, shape, or form. If you're not going to cooperate, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but there's this little thing called the Constitution. I know you're not that smart because you couldn't even get into my own alma mater, Columbia University, and your dad worked there. Yeah, not that smart. And what did he say? He was African, American? On his, yeah, that all came out. The guy's a liar. Frankly, in my estimation, he's a complete scumbag. But, you had me a communist, basically. It's kind of hard to get beyond that. Anyway, here is Donald Trump saying, yep, you know what we're going to do? If he doesn't cooperate with the feds, if he stands in the way of the federal law, we're going to arrest him.
Mr. President, your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zoran Mamdani, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zoran Mamdani?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron. If you look at the per capita, Florida gets 1/3 of what New York gets in terms of the numbers. Why don't you give us those numbers?
Yeah, well,
because that's what we should send him.
Yeah, well, sometimes people say Florida gets more because they count Social Security recipients, but that's not money to the state. Those are seniors that live here. If they moved to North Carolina, you could count it there. So it has no interaction with the state government. They get more in the city and state governments than we get.
Right, substantially. We're going to be watching that very carefully, and a lot of people are saying he's here illegally. We're going to look at everything, and ideally. He's going to turn out to be much less than a communist. But right now, he's a communist. That's not a socialist. I've always said, we will not have socialism in this country. In the speeches, I said, well, what? They skipped socialism. And you got a lot of them like that. And you see AOC, she's out there with her, bad IQ. She's out there ranting and raving about how wonderful he is. And look, so far he's winning. He still has a race to win, but so far he's winning, and he has an advantage as a Democrat in New York City. I was there a long time ago, and it was a long time since a Republican won the city. Yeah, but you would think that a Republican would be able to win. Or you have a good independent running, Mayor Adams, who's a very good person. I helped him out a little bit. He had a problem, and he was unfairly hurt over this question. He made a statement to the effect that this is terrible. New York City can't have all these immigrants come in. And like he was indicted the following day. And I said, that was a phony indictment. And it was a phony indictment. That was a Biden indictment. I said, don't feel bad. I got indicted 5 times every time you opened your mouth. That was a bad group. That was a very dangerous group, I will tell you. These were not nice people. That was the only thing they could do. They had no policy. They had no skill. They had no anything. But they were very good at that. They were vicious, vicious, horrible people. Thank you very much.
He's making an interesting point here because we don't want to go back to those days, right? We just absolutely don't. And yet when you hear some of the things that Mamdani is saying, let me see if I can play it for you, because it really struck me as kind of dangerous rhetoric. We played it earlier in the show, but I want to show you this again, because he's sort of saying we can't ever let somebody like Donald Trump win again, so we'll take away all their opportunities to do so. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one.
So now they're not going to be able to communicate on social media? Is that the idea? You're just not going to be able to talk on social media at all? Because that's what happened before, as I recall, right? They just shut off all his accounts and anybody who supported him. And then the next thing you know, we're in Arctic frost. And there's a giant investigation where they compile 30 million phone records of over 400 people, including it was over 100 organizations, including my friend Charlie Kirk's organization, the late Charlie Kirk. I mean, wow, right? 8 sitting U.S. senators, a representative from Congress. It's like they wanted to choke it off. And this is what Mamdani is talking about. That's not good. So Donald Trump's right to say, hey, we mean business. And if you are in opposition of the federal law, we will take that seriously. I mean, if you're a communist and you think that you can just tax somebody or take something from them because you don't like the color of their skin. I mean, that's one of his quotes, right? He's going to go and tax white neighborhoods. I'm like, I'm sorry, we have a constitution. Like, you can't actually do that. That would be actually a form of racism, okay? Like, you can't actually just say, we're going to go target that neighborhood because of the color of their skin. That's not going to fly. Meanwhile, you can't say, I'm not going to cooperate with the feds at all. I mean, I guess to a certain extent, you could say, I'm not going to cooperate, but you can't impede and you can't get in the way. And that's kind of what he's talking about. If you listen to some of his speech last night, he was like, we are not, we are a city of immigrants and we're going to have all the immigrants and And he made it clear that he was not going to cooperate with Trump in any way, shape, or form. And it's not just Trump, it's the feds here. Look, it's ICE, it's Congress. It's Congress. It's like they don't understand anything. Bunch of know-nothings. Anyway, you get Stephen Miller, who knows a lot and spent 4 years on the sidelines studying the law here, talking about this issue as it relates to California, but it also relates to New York and it relates to Illinois. I want him to explain it. Watch.
This was not a loophole. The Biden administration, Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, devised a scheme to fly illegal aliens into the country and then to escort them en masse across the border by the millions and to give them something known as parole, which gives them a work permit, which gives them a social security number, which gives them access to the voting booth. This was the plan all along, to get them here illegally so they can get free government benefits, get hooked to welfare, and be able to participate in American elections. This was an attack on democracy by the Democrat Party. It's the same attack that we see, Sean, when you have California, a sanctuary state, that is refusing to turn over even illegal alien criminals to ICE. So these are illegal aliens in California who have been arrested by California police, by California law enforcement for serious crimes. They are refusing to hand these criminal illegal aliens over to ICE. Instead, they're freeing them back into the cities to offend and offend again. By any definition, what California is doing is criminal. It is a violation of our laws. It is one of the most heinous things that I have seen.
Yeah. Okay, so it's going on in California. It's going on in Chicago. And now it'll be going on in New York. So Mamdani said all these really nasty things about Donald Trump last night. It's like his whole reason for being was just to be anti-Trump. And I got a kick out of it. The president responded with, and so it begins. And so it begins, okay? Like it's devastating that we have to waste time doing this. Like, why do we have to fight? Hey, Mamdani, you need a safer city. So if I were you, I'd welcome the National Guard in there. I'd welcome the help from the federal government. I'd take a page out of the NYC Mayor's handbook. She's no fool. She's like, hey, you want to help? I'll take it. Thank you very much. And he doesn't do it.